Hi friends, Hattie from Honeybee Stampers here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm coming to you live on my Facebook business page to do an online workshop. Typically I do the online workshop in a private group for my VIP customers, but today I'm starting off with this new, I guess we'll try it out, series of online workshops right here live for anybody to watch. So I hope that you'll join me, and if you enjoy what you're watching, definitely comment and share the video. I am going to have an ordering special today, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. But I've got a couple cute projects to share with you and lots to talk about, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. I don't have my computer set up with me to let me know if I'm live in the right place. I think I am. And so if you are watching, just kind of comment and share. Okay, so let's talk about this mini catalog. Oh, yay. Hi, Zara. Thanks for joining. So the mini catalog just came out. Well, it didn't just come out. It came out in August. It says July, but it went live in August for our customers. And it's available until December. And in this catalog, we've got all kinds of product that is holiday themed. So I'm going to be introducing this to some of you are new to me, and so I'm going to kind of talk about it as if you've never stamped before. So this Stampin' Up catalog has all of the products that you need to create the projects that I'm going to share with you today. And so if you flip through here, I'm just going to kind of give you guys a quick example and an introduction to the catalog so you're familiar with it, and then we'll get started with stamping. So if you will use this page right here, for instance, if you turn the page here on page 11 of this catalog, you'll see that there's a stamp set here. The stamp set, unless you're otherwise notified, is true to size. So what you see here is the size of the stamp set. Okay, so when you see something that's shaded in like this with a cream color, that means that there is a die that coordinates with it. If it's shaded in a gray color, that means there's a punch that coordinates with it. So just so that you can tell here, we've got this adorable stamp set. It comes with all of these pieces. So this one has 12 different stamps included in this. And you can create all kinds of projects, and you'll see the samples are up here. So these catalogs are not only great to order from, but you also can get a lot of inspiration from it. So that's how the catalogs are laid out. You'll see the price here and the item code. So when you go to place an order, you'll know just to enter in that code. Let me flip back for a second to this gingerbread and peppermint suite. So this is a suite of products. When you see the suite here, that means there's a slew of items that coordinate together really well to create these projects here. So you've got stamp sets, we've got dies, there's some dies here as well. And we've got a Memories and More kit, which I'll be doing a class on that in soon. So you'll see soon. Hi there, Nan. Hi, Catherine. Thank you guys for joining me. Hi, Brenda. And we've got some designer series paper. This is probably my favorite product line that Stampin' Up has to offer, probably next to the stamp sets. But this designer series paper is incredible. So you'll see that you've got all these different items, and the descriptions of them are here, and again with the price and the item code. So if you have questions about any of the product, let me know. I'll be pointing them out to you as we're crafting. So let me go ahead and grab my first project for you guys because it's a quick and easy one. I like to show the projects that we're going to do typically. One of the projects today I'm going to actually be stamping with you. So let's see here. We've got this little Halloween card that I made. And I really wanted to showcase the designer series paper here. So let me find that suite of products. So on page 50, if you have this catalog, you can follow along with me. If you don't, I'll be happy to send you a catalog. You just have to let me know. So this is the cute Halloween suite. And what's included with this is the stamp set, and there's a punch. This punch is actually currently back ordered or not orderable, so it's not available, but I'm going to highlight the designer series paper today, so you won't even have to worry about the punch too much. There's some embellishments here and some gingham ribbon. This gingham ribbon has actually just come back. It was back ordered for quite some time. It's available right now, but it's already on low supply. So if you really like this gingham ribbon, you want to jump on that. And then we've got this cute Tombstone box, and I'll show you a sample of that in a minute. But here's the card that we're going to create, something quick and simple. I just couldn't let this Halloween season pass me by without showing you guys this adorable product suite. Let me get all the pieces out to create this card. We're going to use this pumpkin pie base. So pumpkin pie coordinates with the designer series paper. You'll see pumpkin pie here. You've got black, there's Fleur de Flamingo. So the colors that are in the designer series paper are typically what I use to design with. So we're going to use pumpkin pie for our base, and let's just fold that in half. Okay. And I cut down some of the DSP here. For those of you who do place an order, if your order is 35 or more, you're going to get all the pieces to create these projects. And you will also get a tutorial with the instructions and the measurements. So I'm going to just layer that right on this basic black piece here. Before I put that down, I want to stamp these candy corns. Now, I do not like candy corns. I know that's quite the debate out there, but they are not tasty to me. If you're somebody who's a fan of candy corn, please let me know why. So I'm going to just stamp a couple here and then some down here on the bottom. Okay, and I'm doing tone on tone with the pumpkin pie ink. If you're new to Stampin' Up, you know that, you may not know that the color coordination with Stampin' Up is just top notch. So if I've got pumpkin pie paper and I'm using pumpkin pie ink, you're going to know that it's going to coordinate perfectly and it's going to go really well together. Now I'm going to take some of our adhesive. This is our Stampin' Seal, and it's just a tape runner that we use. You can also use liquid adhesive. We've got tear and tape, glue dots. There's all kinds of adhesives that we carry to be able to put these projects together. We're just going to layer that on here. Now I took this and I die cut. I won't be doing any die cutting today, but I will hop on and kind of share some die cutting with you that are new at a later date. But I wanted to show you that I used this die set, the Hippo and Friends die set. Looks like this. It's from our annual catalog. And I used the smaller piece and then the one above it to cut out some designer series paper here, and then this little basic white piece that I'm going to stamp on. We're going to take our Memento black ink, and I love this sentiment. I thought it was so cute. We're just going to stamp "Hey Boo" on this tag. I'm going to stamp straight down and straight up. The great thing about this stamp set is it's photopolymer, so you can see right through it, and it makes it easy for positioning on your card or your cardstock, wherever you want it to go, so that you can know that it's straight and it's exactly where you want it to be. Okay, I'm going to take this piece right here. I just cut a strip of the designer series paper, and I'm going to use this punch. This is a punch in the annual catalog, and I love it. I use it for punching out tags. And I'm just going to slide in my strip of designer series paper. We're going to flip it over and we're going to punch on both sides. And you'll see with this particular punch, you've got 3 different wells here for different size. So you've got a 3/4, an inch, and maybe an 1.25 inches or something like that. All right, so we got those pieces punched out, and I'm just going to adhere this right to my tag. And we're going to use some dimensionals. Our dimensionals are fantastic. They're Stampin' Dimensionals. They're just foam adhesives pieces that you can use to pop up your projects and add dimension. And I will use it on pretty much every card that I use, that I create. So there we go. There's that little tag there. And I'm going to add some more dimensionals to the back. Oops. Oh, I need to scroll up to see that we've got some more viewers. Hi, Angie. Hi, Tanya. So good to see you on here. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to have to see if I can actually read comments and craft at the same time. I may not be able to do that. We'll see. All right, we're going to just stick that right here. There we go. Okay, Now let's grab some scrap paper because we're going to stamp that little pumpkin to add a little accent to it. So again, here's that adorable stamp set that we're working with. And I don't know what I did with my scrap paper. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, of course. So here I grabbed a piece of our basic white cardstock, and I'm going to take the little pumpkin outline and I'm going to ink him up in the Memento black ink. Stamp like that. And then we'll take the pumpkin pie, ink that up. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of hover over it until it looks like I've got it where I'm right inside that image, and I'm going to stamp straight down and straight up. There we go. I grabbed one of our Stampin' Right markers. So this is an old olive marker, and I'm just going to color in the stem to give it a little bit of color. This stamp set has a couple different faces that you can use, and I grabbed one of them to one that looks just like that one that's on the designer series paper to make it match, and I'm just going to stamp this cute little pumpkin face right there. Isn't that adorable? I think that's so cute. So what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of fussy cutting. So fussy cutting is something I love to do. I know there's not a lot of fussy cutter lovers out there, but I love cutting around the images. So what I'm going to do is just take this here. Okay, and I just cut off a piece. And then when you're fussy cutting, you should leave a line or leave a little space outside of your line. So don't cut directly on the line. You want to leave just a little tiny bit of white space there because it gives the eye the illusion that you've cut perfectly straight, because it'll just go right to the line image. So I'm going to take my scissors, and then ideally you would want to just move your paper around like so. Okay. Oops, cut it kind of close there. There we go. And we're going to pop this up with some dimensionals as well. Hi, Franny. I think I saw Dottie on here, so I will not be doing this on the VIP page anymore. I'll be doing the online workshop on my business page. I'm going to try. I'm going to be brave and try to do it over here. And yeah, and then I'll share a video. I'll share the video with you guys over on the VIP page too. Okay, so there we go. There's the finished well, it's almost finished. We're going to add some of these cute little matte black dots. So these are available in the annual catalog. There's a few items that are kind of back ordered or not available in the annual or the holiday catalog, so I couldn't use everything I wanted to. But these little matte black dots just add a little bit to the card, in my opinion. So we'll just stick one here. There's 3 different sizes. There's like a large, medium, and small. We'll put one up here. I like to do typically a rule of 3 when I'm embellishing my card. And we'll do one right there. Okay. And that card is done. So super simple. I'm going to clean off my space a little bit and share with you a couple other projects using this. Even though the punch is not available right now, the punch would punch out these images here. You can just fussy cut like I just did. Or I think that the designer series paper is so amazing. And let me show you what it looks like. So this is the designer series paper. It's black and white. It's color scheme on one side, or black and gray, or black and white and gray. And then on the other side, you've got all these great colors here. So here are the pieces. I'll just go through them really quick. Love that skull. And with Halloween right around the corner, this would be some great product to get. And I've got some cute projects to share with you. Thank you, Catherine. I just love this paper, especially the ones where you can fussy cut those out and just add to them. So here's a couple other cards that I did to make some quick and simple Halloween cards. So kind of the same layout, just featuring some of the other designer series paper. And this one, I just fussy cut that one out and put in there. Now, here are some other cute projects created using this designer series paper as well. So these are tags. These tags are great. You could use them, you can add them to a cello bag that has candy in them. You can attach them to a card and make them into a full-size card. And then we've got some of these cute little pockets here that you can actually write inside and maybe stick a little candy in there or some gum. I know that something that's really popular, well, it used to be, I don't know if you guys get booed or not, but during the Halloween season, if that's even a season, people would go to your neighbor's house and give you a little treat and they would boo you. The first time I ever got booed was from my friend Suzanne. So Suzanne left a cute little basket or a pail of goodies in there, and so that was really fun to get. So here are just some cute projects created using that designer series paper in this stamp set. And honestly, you can't go wrong with this paper. You can mix and match it. It just all looks great. Okay, let me move this. And these projects right here, this was part of a team make and take. So I have a team of friends who are Stampin' Up demonstrators. They purchased a starter kit from me, and each month we have a monthly make and take, and so this was it. And then they get, for only $10, they get all the pieces, like a little card kit to put the pieces together, and they get the instructions on how to do it. So each month it's something different, and that was a couple months ago. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to share with you guys this as well. This is also something I made for my team. These are the Tombstone boxes, and I did a video on this, so you can kind of see the size of them here. And I just use those matte black dots again. And here's that gingham ribbon that I said was back. It's orderable, but it's already low inventory. So make sure if you like this ribbon that you grab it. So, and then we've got some, a little glitter web here. And the actual Tombstone boxes will come like this. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next project. I hope you guys like that one. Let me know what your favorite Halloween costume is for kids. So my little guy is going to be dressing up for Halloween this year. I've already picked out his outfit. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with it, but I'm just curious to hear what other people have seen out there, have dressed up their little ones as, and so give me some different ideas. Okay, the next project I want to share with you guys is one that uses the Stamparatus. So the Stamparatus is a positioning tool, and oops, let me get all my pieces out here. This is a positioning tool that Stampin' Up came out with a couple years ago, and I know that initially when people first saw the Stamparatus, it was a bit overwhelming, maybe a little intimidating, and some people told me that they thought it was for avid stampers, so someone who crafts all the time. And I honestly think it could actually be for a new stamper as well, and I'll tell you why. So we've got the Stamparatus here that comes with 2 plates that look like this. Okay, they're like acrylic plates. I've already got them loaded up, so let me pull them apart if I can without messing up my positioning. And I think I did. Okay, oh well, I'll get it. So anyways, they come with 2 plates, and they are removable. So when you'll see positioning tools out on the market that don't have removable plates. So that's one of the things that makes this amazing, an amazing tool. And we also have a hinge feature, and I'm going to share with you guys that hinge feature today. So let me show you the project that we're going to make. Well, actually, let me not show you this one. I'm going to just build it, and then you'll see, okay? So we're going to take this piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use the Christmas Season and Christmas to Remember stamp sets to create this project. We're going to put the basic white here and going to place my first plate on here, and I'm going to be using something called stamping spots. So if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, then you are probably really familiar with these. So these stamping spots are these little tiny spots that look like this, that have ink on them. Well, I actually happened to purchase one of the ones that Stampin' Up! Has that are empty. And so I highly encourage you to use Stampin' Spots on the Stamparatus because it just makes it so much easier to ink up your stamps. So I'm going to take this first stamping spot. So this came empty and I just used my refill ink refill and just filled it up. And then I punched a couple circles to represent the color of the ink so I could remember. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to ink up. I've got my photopolymer stamp already on here. And I'm going to ink it up like this. I'm going to keep this shoved in the corner. This comes with 2 magnets, and you can place your magnet here. But for this demonstration, I'm not going to keep my magnet there. The magnet's to kind of keep it in position, but I don't need to. So we're going to stamp straight down and straight up. Hi, Pam. Yes, I hope you catch it later. Now we're going to hinge down 2. 1, 2. And we're going to ink up again. So that's the cool feature that is unique to Stampin' Up's positioning tool, is that you have the ability to hinge like that. So we're going to press down. Okay, we got some ink there. Keep that in the corner, and we're going to hinge down 2 again. So 1, 2. Okay, and ink that up. And stamp straight down and straight up. Okay, so you see that we're starting to build this image here. Now what you can do is you can actually turn your plate around like so. And I've got another image already loaded up. And we're going to use our Evening Evergreen ink in this ink spot. And we're going to ink this one up. So definitely the ink spots allow you to have a lot more control. So keep your Paper Pumpkin ink spots definitely handy. Stampin' Up! Or Paper Pumpkin, well, Stampin' Up! And Paper Pumpkin, try not to duplicate the ink spot colors. We're hinging down 2 again, so that you can actually use them. You can collect several different colors throughout the year. All right, and then we're going to stamp straight down and straight up. And we don't need to hinge twice again for this one because it'll already be off the page. So I'm going to remove this plate. And I'm going to grab my second plate. Now, the stamp that I already had loaded up, it came off. They stuck together and came off, so I'm just going to position it. So you're going to take and position the stamp where you want it and bring your plate down. Let's see here, just like that, down to grab a hold of it. Okay. Close this ink spot up, and I'm going to grab another one. This is our Soft Succulent ink. This Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent are both part of the new in colors. Stampin' Up! Comes out with 5 new in colors every year. So we just ink that up, and we're going to stamp straight down. And we're going to hinge down 2. 1, 2, and we're going to do the same thing again. So I like to bring out the Stamparatus every once in a while and do a little demonstration so that I can kind of help with some training on it, because like I said, I've had lots of customers tell me that they don't get it because they're afraid of it. They're not sure how to use it exactly, but it's actually quite easy. So now I've flipped the plate around and I've got some berries lined up that I want to ink up in red. This is our Real Red ink. And we're going to hinge down 2, 1, 2 again, and we're going to ink this up. Now, if you're somebody who does not have a Stamparatus, you can still create this card without any problem. All right, just like that. I'm going to remove that. I think I didn't move that down far enough, but that's okay. Okay, move that out of the way. And then that, because those were photopolymer, you can see right through them. They don't have the foam that you need to stamp a nice image. So I'm going to remove the foam for the sentiment because the sentiment actually has foam already on it. So here's the sentiment, and it's our red rubber, our cling stamp, so you'll see the foam there. So we're just going to place it on here because I've already positioned it prior to our video, and I'm going to ink this up. I loved this sentiment and I thought it was perfect. I have lots of people I could give this card to. So friends like you make this season special. So cute. So you just stamp straight down and straight up. All right, so there's the focal point for our card. Now, with the Stamparatus, like I mentioned earlier, those of you who are new to stamping, in order to recreate this card without the Stamparatus, you would need acrylic blocks. The acrylic blocks look like this. So you would put your stamps on the acrylic blocks, and you can honestly stamp this however you like with the acrylic block. Now, this Stamparatus allows you to do this, create a lot of these cards at one time if you'd like, but the other great thing is this can be your acrylic block, so you wouldn't even need to purchase any. You would use this and you would put all of your stamps on here and do your stamping. Now, if I were to stamp the Friends Like You and I missed a spot, like I didn't stamp it exactly how I wanted to, I could actually just put it right back in the corner, ink this back up, bring it straight back down, and it'll stamp over the image that was missed, and it will fix the mistake. So the Stamparatus is a great tool. I just wanted to share that with some of you who aren't familiar with it, and I'll be doing more videos with this for sure in the future. Okay, now let's finish putting our card together. I've got a piece of real red cardstock that I'm just going to fold in half. When I designed this card, it was during celebration, and so we had some of this really pretty glitter. It was a glimmer paper. We don't have any more of it, but I happen to have a stash for enough to create some of these for people who order this particular card. So you'll get a piece of this a strip of this glimmer paper to finish your card with. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the side here. This adhesive works, but I think the liquid glue works really well with getting this to stick well on here well. Now let's just kind of push that on there. Hope that sticks. Not too bad. All right, and we're going to use dimensionals again to pop this up onto our card. Okay, let's see here. Put a dimensional on the back and maybe one in the middle. Pop these off. Okay, and we'll just center that on our card. And this is a super simple but very elegant Christmas card. And I don't have the rhinestones. I forgot my rhinestones. But if you add the rhinestones on, you'll see that that just adds an extra element. Oh, and you know what? I forgot one other thing. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting a few things here. So this stamp right here, I took our early espresso and I inked it up. And because I wanted it in different spots on the card, I actually didn't put it on the Stamparatus. So I'm just gonna try to stamp and not mess up the card. There we go. And you can see that it starts even these little early espresso dots just add a little bit to this card. Thank you, Angie. Okay, and then we'll do one right down here. Okay, I salvaged it, good. So let's work on the inside of the card. So the stamp set, this comes as part of a suite of products, and I'll show you that suite in a minute, but there's one stamp set that is all sentiments, and then one that's images. So I'm gonna take the two smaller pine cones here, it's two-step stamping, and some crumb cake. Okay, to do this. Let's see, so I want to stamp, that's our detail. I'm gonna stamp the larger stamp off on a piece of scrap paper first. Okay, so you'll see I stamped off, and then I'm gonna stamp on the top here. Okay, that just gives me a lighter image of the crumb cake. And then when I go to put the detail stamp on it, I'm going to layer it right over the top. Okay, and you'll see that that gives a little bit more detail, but it's the same color. We're using crumb cake here. And then I'm going to take the sentiment. We'll ink up the sentiment in real red. These ink spots are going to come in really handy when I do some classes here in the studio, and I've got, I had done a Christmas card class and we used the same color several times, and it was difficult to split those ink pads up between everybody. So these ink spots are going to help out tremendously. All right, I'm just going to stamp straight down Merry Christmas and straight up. And that's going to go on the inside of the card, just like that. Okay, so a simple card. I hope you guys love that. Let me show you, I did another one. This one is a different sentiment on the front, same card. And then on the back, I used Season's Greetings, that sentiment, instead of Merry Christmas, since I had used it, the Christmas on the front. All right, let me show you this suite in the catalog so you guys can be familiar with it. It's on page 16 in the holiday catalog. It's called the Painted Christmas Suite. And you'll see here are some samples, really pretty samples here. Here are the two stamp sets that were just featured. And then here are some dies that coordinate with it. And I didn't even use the dies, but using the dies just takes it up a notch. Now we've got some gold leaves and some ribbon. This cherry cobbler and gold ribbon is really pretty. Now the designer series paper across the bottom here, let me show you, I have some samples of that. Here are the papers here. These are actually the same designer series paper. I've cut them down to 6x6. They actually come in 12x12. These are the designer series papers that I'm going to be featuring in an upcoming stamp camp that I'm doing. So I do a stamp camp with every new catalog that comes out with my friend Brenda Nelson in Canada. So her blog name is Stamps and Stretchy Pants. So if you can go check her out. She happens to be an artisan designer for Stampin' Up, and she's got lots of great projects she's constantly sharing. So I think I have some duplicates on here. But she and I are both doing a stamp camp. It's going to be in November. Now, how this stamp camp works is you're going to get a box of product to create the projects. I've designed projects and she's designed projects. This is a designer series paper that I'm designing with, and then she actually is designing with she's designing with this designer series paper from the Whimsy and Wonder suite of products. This right here, she's doing a really nice keepsake album. But we both are going to be featuring the same bundle of products. So we're both featuring this stamp set and these dies and embossing folder. This is such a unique bundle here because it has the stamps, the dies, and the embossing folder. And I have them with me here to show you up close. So that's the stamp set. Everybody who does the stamp camp will get that stamp set in their kit. And then you can add on the embossing folder as well as the dies. These come together. You can add those on for no additional shipping or tax if you're part of the stamp camp. So I gave a little sneak peek yesterday of one of the stamp camp projects, so I have it here. This is the projects that I created. So it's a fun fold, so everybody's going to get all the kit to create this. But let me show you a couple other, I'm going to give you guys a couple other sneak peeks. So here's another sneak peek of one of the cards that you're going to be making. This is featuring the designer series paper, another fun fold. And then I wanted to show off how gorgeous that embossing folder was. So there, I've got a couple other projects that I've designed. I've designed 7 projects total, and Brenda has designed an album. So there's tons of amazing projects for sure with the stamp camp. And the registration is still open for the US side. I'll have to double check about the Canadian side for her. All right, let me move all of this stuff out of the way because I want to share with you guys our last project. I'm actually doing good with time. I wasn't sure. I haven't done an online workshop in a couple months, so I wasn't sure how I was going to manage my time here. Okay, let me move this to the side. And I'm gonna create our last project. And this last project, I don't have a sample for you because I gave it away. So, just I'm gonna get all the pieces out. This is a project, if you're on my team, the Beehive, then you are familiar with this because I shared it at one of our team events where I actually partnered with two other demonstrators, my Stampin' Besties, Michelle and Jennifer, and we both, all three of us, create a class and we offer it to our teams. So this is one of the projects that I created, and I'm going to show you guys a fun watercoloring type technique with it. So the suite of products that I'm going to be featuring in this card with this particular project, let me grab my catalog so you can see it. Is the Harvest Meadow. So this was a very popular suite of products that ended up going on back order, then non-orderable. Now much of it is available. These little embellishments here are not available. So those are back ordered until sometime in November, I believe. But you'll see here the stamp set, the dies, the embossing folder. Love that embossing folder. We've got this really cool ribbon, the embellishments, the cork paper, and then this gorgeous designer series paper here. So this project is actually not going to feature the designer series paper, which is not like me. You guys know I love to feature DSP, but I want to show you guys a fun technique. So I'm going to take this crumb cake base and just fold it in half. And I've already taken a piece of the Very Vanilla cardstock and I've cut it down. Oh, gotta make sure it's in the right, because there are words on here. And I've run it through the embossing folder so that I can give it a little bit of texture, and that's gonna go right there on the card. What I also did was I took the dies. These are two of the dies that are part of this bundle, and I die cut them out using our watercolor paper. And then this die, I die cut out using our cork paper. So our cork paper is so cool. It looks like this, and if you've not played with it, it is really neat. So this is the other side of it. It's rather thin. It's a lot thinner than I thought it was going to be. It's easy to work with. You can stamp on it, but if you stamp on it, make sure if it's not like stays on ink or something like that, either you set it with some heat or you allow it a lot of time to dry. So let's start off with some watercoloring. I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. We're going to use these new water painters. So these water painters come in a set of 3. They're available from the annual catalog. You can also get them on the online store. And they come with 3 different tops. So we've got this size, we've got a flat bristle, and then we've got this a little bit more fine tip. We're going to use this medium-sized tip here. I've already added some water to the reservoir here so that we can squeeze from it to get the color that we need. So what I'm going to do is take this particular ink pad, it's the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to pinch it in the middle like that and get some color on the lid. Then I will take the water painter and I'm going to squeeze a little bit of water in here and mix it up. And this will be my palette that I'm working from. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the flowers that we've die cut out using the watercolor paper, and I'm just going to add some color to it. And I'm not going to put color everywhere. Turn it this way. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to let that dry. Set it to the side and let it dry. Now I'm going to show you guys a different way to watercolor. Let me get some of this ink off of here. Okay, so to get the ink out of the tip of your water painter, you can just simply rub it on a piece of paper towel or washcloth and rub it until it goes dry. So you'll see I'm just using a cotton round here. Getting some of that color off of there. Now another way, if you don't have the ink pad, but you have the ink refills, which if you do those little stamping spots like I showed you in the very first card or the second card, the stamping spots are great. You can grab a bunch of those. They come in a set of 5 for I think $9, and then you can get some of the ink refills to fill them all. So we're going to take this Misty Moonlight ink and we're just going to add a little drop right there. And this is one of our acrylic blocks that we use, that we add our stamps to, right? And we're going to do the same thing that we did, but instead of mucking up one of our stamp pads, we're just going to create our little watercolor palette right here. Okay, and if you want it to be a lighter color, then you would just add more water. All right, then we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing that we did with the Calypso Coral. So sometimes you'll see that people will do a watercolor wash across some paper and then they'll go in later and actually die cut the image. But I found that this was a unique way to allow you to have some white space here with your die cut. And you also can die cut a lot more because then you're not wasting, you know, your watercolor paper by putting color all over it. All right, so we're gonna let those dry. And while those are drying, we are going to stamp our sentiment. So we've got a little strip of basic black here. This is the stamp set that we're working with. And I really loved this sentiment up here. So I want to mask the bottom line and just ink up and heat emboss the top. So sending healing thoughts. So how you can omit that bottom part is if you take a Post-it note, or you can use washi tape. You can use anything that you have really. Okay, so I'm just going to put that right there. Okay. And then I'm going to take some Versamark ink. This is a sticky ink that you need to pick up the embossing powder. So we're just going to ink this up. Okay, and hopefully I didn't get it on this bottom line. If you have an embossing buddy, we don't sell these anymore, but if you have one, these are handy to keep the static off. And you're just going to kind of rub that across. And then I'm going to take this sentiment and I'm going to stamp straight down with my fingers crossed that it's straight. And we're going to take our white embossing powder. Okay, so maybe you can kind of see the sentiment there. When you put the embossing powder over it, that Versamark will only pick up what you stamped. And I can already see that it picked up a little bit more than I wanted. So there's the part that we omitted, that bottom part, but I can see a little bit of it showing through. So what you want to do before you heat this up is just kind of run your finger across it. Okay, just like that, to get rid of those extra embossing powder pieces. Now the brushes that I showed you earlier that we used, you can actually purchase these and keep one dry if you'd like. And then this is a great tool to be able to brush away the unwanted embossing powder pieces that you don't want. So there's a little tip for you. Now we're going to take a heat tool. So this is our heat tool. I'm actually going to heat off the camera so that it's not blowing, but making loud noise. So then what you're going to do is just heat over the top here. Some people heat from the bottom. I like to heat over the top because I can't tell what's going on the bottom and I don't want to start a fire. So let's go ahead and we'll heat that up off camera. Hold on 1 second. So heat embossing is actually how I got started stamping. I saw this demonstrated and I absolutely fell in love, and the rest is history. So something I want to mention to you, if you've never heat embossed before, is that once the powder has heated up, you will see that it becomes raised and shiny. I don't think I can get it close enough to show you guys that. If it's a dull powdery look, then that means you need to add a little bit more heat, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll layer these pieces together. My wording goes up this way. So if you're going to place an order with the host code that I'm going to share, then you will get all the pieces already cut and prepped for you. That means I'll already have cut this piece out and run it through the embossing folder, and that gives you an opportunity to see that embossing folder and decide if it's something that you want to purchase. So I'll also die cut all of the pieces here for you as well. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to snip off some of that. And we're going to take our ribbon. This is the ribbon that's part of the suite. And I'm just going to cut a piece of it. It is a diamond weave ribbon. It's actually really chunky. It's a little bit difficult to tie with, but it makes great accent pieces. Okay, so just like that. So let me lay on our pieces that are die cut already, and I'm going to use some glue dots for that. It'll make it easy. Oh, good, Nan. I'm glad you like that tip. So let's see here. Let me bring they're pretty much dry. What you can do if you wanted to is add more color and layer even more color onto these die cut pieces if you wished. So I'm just going to kind of piece them together here like that. Okay. I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to add some glue dots to the back. Another way to put this on would be to use some liquid adhesive. That would make it really easy because you'd have some control over where the glue went. All right, let's stick this on right about there. And I'm going to weave this piece in just like that. I think I moved that over a little bit too far. Okay, add a little glue dot there. Now you can watercolor on our regular basic white or very vanilla paper, but if you want to do a lot of watercoloring, you're going to want to use the watercolor paper because that will allow you to add lots of water. It has a good ability to absorb a lot of water versus our other paper that will start to pill after a while. So I'm just going to weave that in just like that. Okay. Now same with the diamond weave ribbon, I'm going to use glue dots to adhere this to the card. Oh, let me grab those. Okay. We're just going to put it right across the bottom here. And I'll go back in and add a little bit more glue dots later. We'll take our sentiment, and I'm going to add some glue dots to the back of our sentiment as well. So I had mentioned earlier that I use dimensionals on almost everything, and you can use dimensionals on this as well, but I find that the glue dots are really going to be handy for keeping them in place. I'm just going to put that right over the top. So I'll mess with this a little bit to get it exactly how I'd like. I might even trim these down just a little bit, just a hair. There we go. And then what we'll do is you would put the embellishments on here, whichever embellishments you'd like. I know when I did this class earlier, I actually used the brush metallic, but like I said, they're kind of back ordered right now. So here are a couple more projects that I created using this suite of products. So that's just a simple stamping. This is one where I've stamped on the cork paper. Okay, and that took some time to dry. And a tip with the embossing folder, make sure that because they've got words on it that you're paying attention to that when you're putting them on if you do a portrait versus a landscape card. And then here's another project. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed those projects. I am going to bring in the ones that I created for this online workshop. So if your order is $35 or more, you're going to get all the pieces to be able to recreate these projects. Okay, here are those two different sentiments on that one. And then here's the card, the Halloween card. Now, if you do get it, you most likely will get this Halloween card, but you may get a combination. You might get this color instead or this color instead. It just depends on how much supply I have. So those are the projects. And if you place an order with a $50 order or more, you're actually going to get some of this cork paper. This cork paper, you'll get a pack of it. Comes in a 12 by 12 pack of paper, but I do have to cut it down to 6 by 6 in order to ship it. But you'll get 8 pieces of it, 8 pieces of 6 by 6 cork paper to use. So that's with a $50 order. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that online workshop. I will be sharing some more about how to order and upcoming classes in some posts to come. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.